The dream of North Wilkesboro Speedway began in the mid-1940s when Enoch Staley found inspiration in a stock car race that Bill France had promoted in South Carolina before the formation of NASCAR. The story goes that Staley and his partners ran out of money to create their perfect oval, leaving the track with an uphill slope on the backstretch and a downhill slope to the finish. Such was born one of the most unique short tracks in NASCAR history. A 0.625 mile oval that hosted the Cup Series twice a year until 1996. Jeff Gordon won that final race here, and from the second that last checkered flag fell, race fans have clamored for the return of North Wilkesboro. And now we go back in time. The track has been digitally restored to its 1987 state, giving iRacers the opportunity to relive the iconic North Carolina short track as it existed in its heyday. Such was the popularity of its virtual return that the NASCAR Cup Series racing returned in 2023 with the annual All-Star Race, and the track received numerous upgrades, including a repave. Tonight, it's the 3 Wide with DJG 200, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is the rescan. New pavement, new facilities, same old flair. Let's take a look at the race details for this evening. 200 laps, the race distance. Stage break, well, no break. Stage, though, at lap 35. Fuel load on board, 75%. 3 sets of tires available over the walls. No fast repairs. Count them, 0, zip, zilch, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. Weather-wise, 78 degrees, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze, negligible at best. Track temp, again, we're under the lights here tonight. Very cool at 77 degrees. Practice and qualifying in the books. We ran practice here with no broadcaster, but figured y'all want to watch that. Warm-up session just about complete. Under 2 minutes remain. Fast times in this session for the time being. 29 at Christian Strader, 18.729, followed by TJ Majors, Aaron Smith, James Pileski, and Brian McCann, the top 5. Again, just about a minute and a half left in this session before we jump right into our starting grid and subsequently our race session. We got MotoDad19 in the chat. Thanks for checking in, MotoDad. Boogity boogity. He says, "I ready." Me too. Let's get this show on the road. While we have a moment here, let's thank the sponsors for jumping on board to this series. Lots of them to count. RS12 Motorsports, Coles County Speedway, R&R Racewear, Anything EC, Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing, of course 3 Wide with DJG, Charity Motorsports, Supreme 3D Printing, Spartan Transportation, Premier Racing Setups, and Care for Kids. About 35 seconds or so remaining in this session. Take a quick look at the schedule here. Of course, this is the 3 Wide with DJG 200. Next week, we'll be out at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 135 laps there in Atlanta. Not sure if we're going to be on the Super Speedway or the old wore-out surface, the non-Super Speedway style. That should be a good one either way. Still be going to be fun to watch. The Nashville Fairgrounds. We're going to run heat races there. We've done that a couple of times this season at some of the smaller racetracks. It's gone quite well. Then Bristol Motor Speedway, Talladega, Auto Club, Las Vegas, Kern County, back to Daytona just before Christmas, then MIS, then back to Atlanta again, and then RS12 Motorsports 202 at Charlotte Motor Speedway to close out the season. Practice in the books, black and red flags on the session. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position, the lap time of 18.858 seconds. It's Christian Strader. Outside front row, missed it by 29 thousandths. It's Lilith Peters. Row number 2 will be Aaron Smith and TJ Majors. Row 3 will be Brian McCann and Adam Pettit. Row 4, Brandon Mefford and Matt Mormond. Row 5, it's the two of Neil Quick and Kyle Hardy. Starting in the 11th position, it'll be William Tyndall. 12th will be Brent Butler. 13th starter Garrett Johnston. Vincent Short will roll off 14th. Peter Ruzick, 15th. Shane Haas, 16th. 17th starter Todd Kleek. Jason Nilgis will start in the 18th spot. Tim Schofield will start 19th. 20th belongs to Kyle White. Zachary Kleek, 21st. Casey Benz, 22nd. Jim Pileski will start in the 23rd spot. Chuck Sweeting, 24th. Josh Mears will roll off 25th. 26 belongs to Steve Durbin. Chris Wally, 27th. And last but not least, the 13 of Phil Chartier will start 28th. Your starting grid here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. 2 pace laps, and we'll be underway here momentarily as the field rolls away. Race details again here, 200 laps the distance. Stage at lap 35. Points will be paid, but no caution will be thrown. Fuel load at 75%. 3 sets of tires over the wall. No fast repairs, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if so needed. Another lap here will be green flag racing the next time by. Pace car lights have gone off. Field doubled up. For 200 laps, just over 100 miles here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Beautiful facility, been brought back from the dead. Pace car is in. And here comes the field out of turn number 4. Barney with the green in hand. It waves, and we are underway from North Wilkesboro. Side-by-side battle into turn number 1. Will Peters up the racetrack pretty wide. It's going to open the door for TJ Majors, but Majors tucks back in behind Peters into 3 and 4 for the first time. Peters with a slight edge through the middle of the corner. Carrying some momentum out of turn number 4. Peters is going to lead lap 1. A little bit of a wiggle and maybe a little bit of paint dropped off on the safer barrier. Hanging still tough on the outside. We saw some drivers doing that throughout the course of practice early on. William Tyndall, just as a prime example, ran that really high line, a really late arc down into the corner. It was paying off, though. He top 5 times. Peters continues to lead, straighter to the bottom of the racetrack. Might have been a little contact there, and now 3 wide, middle of turn 1 and 2. TJ Majors up the gut, looking for the race lead. Strader backs out of it. Caution the better part of valor there for the 29. Now at the stripe, TJ Majors, your new leader. Peters trying to find a way back around the 6th. They work down the short back straightaway into turn number 3. Let's ride on board now with Lilith Peters as she tries to find a way back around the 6th of Majors. Got Vintage Hiker in the chat asking when the championship race is. Well, this season is still relatively young, so we're looking at, I think it's the second week of January 2026. We close out the season at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Strader from 4th, now to the inside on Aaron Smith. Smith started 3rd. Peters all over the back bumper of TJ Majors. Let's keep a close eye on this. She's really fighting hard for that race lead. I just wonder if it's going to be too much too soon. On board now with the 6. Peters takes a look, sticks the nose to the inside. Just doesn't quite have the run off the corner. Almost seems like Peters getting held up just a bit by Majors, which TJ's got a fast race car out there, but he still might be saving just enough. Might be holding up the one a little bit, but the other side of that coin, like we said, Peters might be burning the tires off a little. Now Aaron Smith to the outside for the second spot. Keeps it on the top lane. Strader's going to go in the tire tracks at the 70. Peters falling off just a bit. Had the race lead very early on. 11 laps in, though, falling backwards. Now trying to hang on to the third spot. Pole sitter Christian Strader. To the outside, and here comes Brian McCann. McCann started in the 5th position, hanging tough there in that spot. Trying to get some more. Aaron Smith cleanly through to the second spot. Peters still committed to the low side of the racetrack. Brian McCann still working the top, still side by side. Top 4 singled out, 1, 2, 3, 4, but side by side, Peters still trying to hang on to that spot. Does not want to yield to Brian McCann. She's going to have to settle in now behind the 3. Here comes the 49 and 6. That's Adam Pettit. Top 6 cars starting to break away. P7 Brandon Mefford likely to reel in this group of cars. Further back through the field, the 10th position, it's the 60 of Matt Mormon. Just ahead of Kyle Hardy and Vincent Short. Vincent Short running in the 11th position. Short want to give a big shout out to Nikki Short. Hopefully Nikki's here in the chat. It is her birthday, so happy birthday, Nikki. Vince trying to make the move here on the 35 of Hardy. Gets a nose alongside, but Hardy with the run off at 4. Able to get back out in front of the 55. Battle for position here now. Casey Bentz, the 75 and Chuck Sweeting. Side by side off turn number 4. Bentz real loose off of 4. Almost pancaked the wall. Hangs onto the car and still has the position. Another one of those drivers trying to work in that outside lane, that ultra-high line that we didn't really see get utilized much in the old layout, on the old pavement. Still the same North Wilkesboro, but safer barriers, new fencing, new surface. The 13 in trouble. That's Phil Chartier, started last. Well off the pace. Might be something to miss with the number 13 machine. Back out front, Majors continues to lead over Aaron Smith, Christian Strader, Brian McCann, Lilith Peters. Still hanging into the top 5. Peters started outside pole, had a fast race car at the very beginning, but has quickly fallen off. May have a battle here for the lead soon. Aaron Smith trying to work different lanes here, trying to find a way around the 6. Now Majors, Smith, and Strader starting to separate up a little bit ahead of Brian McCann and Lilith Peters, so a 3-car breakaway. Just a few car lengths back from third is Brian McCann. He's also pretty good at saving his stuff, so this might be a strategic move on behalf of the 3. And here come the leaders back to start-finish. Majors with the race well in hand, does not have the fastest laps the last time by. Ran a 1950, and everybody behind him ran quicker by quite a bit, all the way back to the 8th spot. Brent Butler was fast in that group. He's running 8th. All the drivers behind Majors back to Butler were quicker than him the previous lap. Now Majors does have the fastest lap on the racetrack right now. He ran an 1897. Speaking of William Tyndall, he was quick in the practice session. I believe he was 5th or 6th. He's currently running back in the 15th spot. Started 11th, not the greatest of qualifying efforts for the 62, but he's got Casey Bentz pounding on the back door here, trying to find a way around. 30 laps already complete as we approach our stage. Again, the stage coming up at lap 35. Chuck Sweeting in the 75, still applying pressure to Casey Bentz. So we may have a 3-car fight here for the 15th spot. Majors continues to lead about 2/10 plus over the 70 of Aaron Smith. Strader, McCann, Peters the top 5. We watch this battle now for the 15th position. Getting tied up ahead. Half a car length still the lead for the 6 of TJ Majors. Aaron Smith does seem to be just a bit faster, though. Last lap Majors picked up the pace in 1956, but now it switches up. Majors just a tick slower than Aaron Smith the last time. Really think that Aaron Smith's going to need to be a lot faster to really make the pass on Majors right now. It's not going to be enough to be a 0.5 a lap quicker. You can find pace out there, but you got to be fast long enough to get alongside and then clear that driver ahead of you. And right now, Aaron Smith just doesn't seem to have it. Of course, it is still early, just about ready to wrap up this first stage. The stage will be paid out in points. No caution will be thrown. Coming back to the line, stage winner is going to be TJ Majors, then Aaron Smith, Christian Strader, Brian McCann, Lilith Peters, then Brandon Mefford, Brent Butler, Adam Pettit, Matt Mormond, and Kyle Hardy, the top 10. Leader starting to work into some lap traffic. Looks like the 13 of Chartier. Stand corrected. It might be the 19 of Kyle White. Indeed, that is the case. White's going to keep it up top, force everybody down low. Safe place to be. Just like that, 40 laps in here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Majors has led them, well, not quite all of them. We've had 3 leaders. No, just 2 leaders. It was Majors now. It's been out there for quite some time. Lilith Peters led the first lap from the outside pole just by a nose, led a couple. And a fast race car still does as she maintains her position in the 5th spot. Meanwhile, 4-car battle now for the lead as Brian McCann is closed in. Big checkup for the 6 allows Aaron Smith to close right to the back bumper in the middle of 3 and 4. Still faster, though, was Majors. Lap times falling off, though, as these tires wear. A 1973 for Majors and a 76 for Aaron Smith. Christian Strader was an 82. The fastest car in the top 5 is still Lilith Peters with a 1965. Just got to wonder here if TJ's still trying to save the race car just a little bit, take care of those tires, since he does just get a piece of the outside wall there off of turn number 4. Now the 13 to Chartier up top of the racetrack and let the leaders get by without a problem. Allows Majors to build a bit of a gap back to the 70 of Aaron Smith. 3/10 now the advantage as they run through turns 1 and 2. Now down the backstretch, quarter second the advantage for Majors. Battle for position is Brian McCann still working the outside, side by side with Strader. McCann now up to the 3rd position. Strader drops down to 4th. McCann's got a fast race car. He's reeled in these top 2. He may have something here for Aaron Smith before we know it. We got MotoDad19 in the chat again. Says money is on Peters. She's just saving her stuff. Man, I'm tongue-tied over here, but certainly seems that way. She was very aggressive at the outset, but has settled into that 5th spot and has really held on to it for quite some time. Brandon Mefford still running in the 6th spot, not that far back, a car length at best off the 1. We'll see if the 83 applies pressure here. Quarter distance here at North Wilkesboro. Caution free to this point. No, I don't want to jinx it. We'll knock on some wood here just to be safe. But here's Brandon Mefford now to the inside on Lilith Peters for the 5th spot. Oh, Mefford gets into Peters. It gets sideways. She straightens it out, but too much. Overcorrects into the outside wall. And we stay green. Through all that, Peters only lost a couple spots. She's now back to 7th, but the question now is how much damage did that number 1 car sustain? Does look a little bent up in the front end. We'll see what kind of lap time she can get after she regroups here. Meanwhile, Brian McCann has taken the 2nd spot handily from Aaron Smith. Try and get you a replay on that here in just a minute. And here's the pass for the 2nd spot just a moment ago. McCann gets to the inside of Aaron Smith into turn, looks like number 3 and 4. And McCann up into the 2nd spot. Peters got to make an adjustment here. Definitely some issues with the damage on that car. She has slid back now to 10th and now about to lose that spot as well. So Peters now to the 11th position after that contact with Brandon Mefford. out front. Majors still with the lead. And one car's around. The caution is out. So first caution of the night. Somewhat timely here for Lilith Peters. Still relatively early on in this race. She'll have an opportunity to get some repairs made to that race car. Hopefully have an opportunity here still tonight. Pit stops underway. First pit stops of the night. Safe bet here. Everyone's going fuel and 4 tires. So let's see if we can get a look here at this caution just a moment ago. I think it was Todd Cleek and Josh Mears involved. And looks like the 36 just comes around on his own, overcorrects and into the path of Cleek, and then hard impact on the outside wall. Looks like the 11 just manages to sneak by with just a little bit of incidental contact with the wall. Looked like a little too much rear brake for Mears there. So through that exchange of pit stops, Aaron Smith went with 2 tires. A brazen strategy call here. This just might be an experiment for Aaron Smith here. Right sides only. He'll restart with the race lead, but that's going to put TJ Majors to his inside on 4 fresh tires. See if he can hold them off.
Green flag.
Aaron Smith will lead back to the stripe after the restart, but hot on his trail, TJ Majors. Then behind those two, Christian Strader, Brian McCann side by side for the 3rd spot. Strader now top of the racetrack. That's where McCann was earlier on in the race when he was able to take the spot away from the 29. Strader hangs on to it for the time being. Now Brian McCann settles in the 4th position. McCann seemed to have a very good long-run car. Didn't really come to life until very deep in that first run, about 40 laps in. We'll see if that remains the same here. That would put us at about halfway, a little past halfway, when his car starts to come back in if we run green all the way. Still, the battle for the lead is on. Aaron Smith hangs on to it for now on only 2 tires. McCann back on the charge, trying to take the 3rd spot from Strader. Can't get it done. Strader way up the racetrack. We saw that in practice. We talked about it early on. A lot of guys running that real high lane into a really late turn in. Kind of straighten out your exit, get more time on throttle. McCann, though, still managing to get to the inside and get side by side with Strader. We'll see if he's got the run now. He's kind of doing the same thing, just a little bit narrower of a corner for McCann. He's got the spot and he's clear of Strader. Let's move McCann back up into the top 3. Following up on Lilith Peters. Some damage repaired. Spend an extra handful of seconds in the pits to try and straighten out the bodywork, maybe get the suspension a little bit straighter on that race car. Still showing signs of battle. Aero not necessarily a huge thing here, but it does play a part. Lilith Peters back in the 16th spot. Last lap for Peters in 1936. Leaders are running about a 1920, so she's about a tenth and a half off the pace. We'll have another opportunity at some point to try and make that car a little bit faster, but will she have enough time if she gets it fixed? Aaron Smith continues to lead. The 2 tire calls so far paying off, but if we run another long green flag run, will it pay off near the end of that? It really may fall into the clutches of TJ Majors and Brian McCann. We saw it as McCann's car came in late in that first run. He was able to make the pass on Aaron Smith on the inside, no less. That's when they were on both equal footing as far as their tire wear was concerned. This is not going to be the case when we get to the end of this long run again. Aaron Smith out there on the original set. Majors now trying to make a move, looking to the outside. Just got a little bit of that front bumper alongside Aaron Smith. But now Brian McCann takes advantage. McCann jumps to the inside of the racetrack on TJ Majors for the 2nd spot. Door to door down to turn number 1. Majors up top, McCann on the bottom. McCann's going to chase the 6 up the racetrack a little bit, but the run will prevail for the 6. He'll hang on to the 2nd position. Top 4 are still tightly together here, front of the field. Now lap traffic coming into play. Chartier there in the 13, awfully slow. Almost got run over by TJ Majors, was able to dodge him quite well. Now the 27 of Casey Bentz in danger of losing a lap. Currently in 20th. Little loose on exit. Might have had a little help there from the 70. Now TJ Majors will try to take advantage. Thought about looking to the outside, but no room to swing it out. Lap car Bentz in the way. Top 4 are still single file now through turns 3 and 4. Coming back across the line, Aaron Smith will continue to lead. Now a car length a little bit less over the 6. Checking on William Tyndall. We talked about him a little bit, how he was running in practice, had a quick race car. He's up a few spots now. Started 11th. He was as low as 15th. Now finds himself the 10th position. 79 laps in here at North Wilkesboro. Following up on Brandon Mefford, I don't think the 83 sustained much, if any, damage with that contact with Lilith Peters. Mefford running in the 6th spot. Piers Vincent Short still had a problem. Was in the pit lane. In fact, I think he may actually be out of this race. Not sure of the situation there with the 55 of Short. An early exit for Vince. He had a strong run going. So Neil Quick back in the 18th spot, and just looking through some of the data here, it appears that maybe Neil Quick and Vincent Short were involved in an accident at about lap 66. We'll try to go to that here quickly and see what the story tells us. There's the 55. That's Vincent Short. The 2 of Neil Quick down low. This is off turn 4. They make contact, and how that didn't bring out a yellow.
Caution.
Well, that's a real-life caution. That was just the replay. But either way, we're under yellow again. Now, Phil Chartier involved in this one, along with Matt Moorman and I think Todd Kleek as well. Yeah, Moorman in big-time trouble. That thing is dog-tracking like crazy. Definitely some bent and broken suspension components on the 60. He's somehow going to manage to get this thing into pit lane. For the second time tonight, caution on the Speedway here, lap 84. Let's see if we can catch what happened. A little late into it. We'll just do the rewind. Again, my least favorite thing to do. But here we go. Moorman and the 35. Kyle Hardy. Moorman got loose. Didn't have enough room to correct it. Gets into the 35. And everybody else piles in after. Chartier gets a piece of Hardy as well. So, interesting development. Second caution. Some drivers are pitting, which we kind of expected. But some did not. And those that did not were TJ Majors, Christian Strader, Adam Pettit, Garrett Johnston, and Brent Butler. That'll be your top 5. Neil Quick has opted to come down. Looks like Casey Bentz has stayed onto the racetrack. But Aaron Smith from the lead and Brian McCann both opted to come on down. So did Shane Haas, Brandon Mefford, James Pileski, Chuck Sweeting, William Tyndall, Jason Nilgis, and Steve Durbin. Lilith Peters also just exiting pit lane. Let's see if she got any more damage repaired. It doesn't look too bad. Still the left front separated a bit from the fender, but the nose isn't quite as far pushed in as it was. So another opportunity for Lilith Peters to get a little bit more work done. See if she can get that car back on pace.
No go. Not going.
So they waved off the restart here. We're going to go one more time around. Field doubled up for the restart. Majors and Strader on the front row. Looks like Major has opted for the outside this time.
Green flag, green flag.
Majors takes full advantage of the outside, puts some distance now, some significant distance now back to Garrett Johnston, up into the top 3 now alongside Christian Strader. Strader has been fast all night long, started on pole position, hasn't led a lap just yet, I don't believe. Now Aaron Smith in the weeds here, the 49 of Adam Pettit to the inside. Aaron with fresher tires though, trying to work his way back towards the front. Took a gamble on 2 early on, and it paid off. Got him into the lead, got him some laps led. Now he's back out there on 4. A lot of these guys out front didn't pit the last caution. Again, right now, Majors, Christian Strader, Garrett Johnston, the top 3, have not pit since lap 56. Major still leads over Christian Strader. Strader seems to be reeling the 6 in, though. In fact, about a tenth and a half, almost 2 tenths quicker than TJ the last time by. Pretty even the last time, 100th of a second separating the top 2 as far as lap time goes, but Strader's got a fast race car. He's right there, just about a foot and a half off the back bumper of Majors. Across the stripe again, lap 95 will go up on the scoreboard. Top 10 right now, TJ Majors, Christian Strader, Aaron Smith trying to take third away from Garrett Johnston. McCann runs 5th, James Pileski is 6th, Brent Butler 7th, Adam Pettit is 8th. Brandon Mefford now up into the 8th spot, sends Pettit to 9th, and William Tyndall back in 10th. Battle for position. Mefford in the 8th spot, not quite clear yet though. Pettit will battle back on the outside. Mefford's clear, but pancakes the wall on corner exit. Garrett Johnston shedding positions now. Again, one of the drivers that did not pit out there on the older tires. Some drivers are making it work, others not so much. Right now, the top 2, Majors and Strader, lead the field with the old rubber, but Aaron Smith with 4 underneath him in 3rd. Brian McCann, the same story, 4th position for the 3. He's got fresher tires as well. Battle for second, not much of a battle. Aaron Smith to the inside of Christian Strader will power off the corner, but no, Strader's going to battle back around the outside. Just past halfway here in North Wilkesboro. Still side by side for second. Aaron Smith back to the gas just a tick sooner. Now we'll get clear as Strader, and it now opens the door for Brian McCann to take the 3rd spot. Again, just past halfway here at North Wilkesboro. We're going to step aside, get a track limits side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at North Wilkesboro Speedway, 113 laps in the books. TJ Majors hanging on to that top spot on the old tires. Aaron Smith and Brian McCann have yet to be able to capitalize on those fresh tires. Tire strategy at play here at North Wilkesboro here tonight. Some guys taking 2, some guys taking none. So far, those drastic strategies are at least paying off for a couple of those drivers. TJ Majors, Aaron Smith, just to name a couple. .75% fuel load tonight. We talked about that. Not really sure what the fuel window looks like at 75%, but given that Major's last stop was at lap 56, I would venture a guess that he's going to need to make one more stop. Brian McCann gets clear of Aaron Smith. This is kind of what we expected to see. Late in the run, McCann's car comes to life. So we've been under green here quite some time. The 3 starting to get a little bit quicker here, reeling in TJ Majors. I think the 6 is going to have his hands full here at any moment. Oh, big wiggle there and some contact. Majors gets the wall, opens the door for Brian McCann, slips the nose to the inside just a bit, up to the door now. Off turn number 4 at the line, Majors leads. Back to the bumper. McCann now trying to make his way up to the race lead, can't get it done, he'll have to reset. Brian McCann now going to try the outside, changing up his line a little bit, see what he can do with TJ Majors. Majors now chopping off the low side of the racetrack. Just got to wonder, when will TJ make his way down pit lane for at least fuel? He's going to probably want to wait for a caution because there's no way to make a pit stop here under green without going down a lap. TJ having trouble keeping the car turning out of the exit of the corner. McCann now way up the racetrack another time. Following up, Lilith Peters up into the 16th position, still on the lead lap. Majors and McCann, last time by, separated by 1/100th of his second lap time. I think McCann's got the pace, but he can't find a way around. Later and later we go, the more likely we'll see somebody use the bumper here. Real loose again. You see the rear end of the race car stepping out on the 6 on corner exit. Some lap traffic now. The 19 into the picture. That's Kyle White. White in the fence. So is the 6. Now to the inside. Some contact. Brian McCann gets the left rear of Majors, but checks up. Cuts him another break. Brian McCann all over TJ Majors like a cheap suit as they head down into turns 1 and 2. McCann up the racetrack again. Another late turn in, trying to drive off and straighten out that back straightaway. Further down through the field, Christian Strader falling off the pace. Those old tires just not working out for him. It really shows you how much of a job it is for TJ Majors to maintain that race lead, knowing he doesn't have the grip. Garrett Johnston in 7th. Neil Quick, after that contact with Vincent Short a while ago, is up into the top 10 now, running in the 8th position. TJ Majors still with the race lead, but not by much. Brian McCann trying to cool the tires down just a bit, trying to make another run here for the race lead. 13 to Phil Chartier, up top of the racetrack, will leave plenty of room for the top 2. Keep watching this battle here for the lead, just waiting for a mistake out of the 6 or something miraculous out of Brian McCann. At this stage of this run, we saw McCann's car really come in there on that late run. We saw it a couple of times already tonight, but at this stage, you gotta wonder if those tires have kind of equalized between the top 2. Brian does seem to have a little bit more pace, but as we saw earlier on in the race, Aaron Smith was kind of in the same boat. Had a faster race car, but just couldn't complete the pass. Kind of seeing the same here with Brian McCann. Brent Butler now will come down into pit lane. This very well may be a scheduled stop for the number 76. Right side tire change for Brent Butler. Sunoco race fuel going in. Crew drops the jack, heads around to the driver's side of the race car. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Brent Butler. He will definitely go down a lap here, but drops the jack, heads back on out. 15:67 the stop. Not the fastest, but clean. TJ Majors has locked up the most laps led here tonight. Can he finish it off? As McCann looks to the outside at the bumper. Drives it in deep now into turn number 3 yet again. Leaders now reeling in Lilith Peters. She will likely go down a lap here momentarily. She gives plenty of room for the top two. She's got to be asking herself what could have been if it weren't for that contact early on with Brandon Mefford. She had a fast race car, put it on the outside pole. And now Majors stretches it out to 0.3 of a second over Brian McCann. 59 laps to go here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Aaron Smith has all but disappeared from view as he still runs back in the third spot, but he is about almost 2 seconds back from the top two. Brandon Mefford working his way quietly up into the top five. He runs fourth. Christian Strader in a battle for the fifth position with James Pileski. They're side by side, door to door, almost making contact. Neil Quick now dropping positions into the 8th spot. Chuck Sweeting breathing down his neck. A car length and a half, maybe two back off the two. And Garrett Johnston will head to pit lane. Top two still Majors and Brian McCann as they reel in the 27 to Casey Bentz. Bentz will go up the racetrack. A lot of courtesy being given here tonight. Really good to see that. We've had a really clean race. Only a couple of cautions to this point. Still, you got to ask yourself, when will the 6 make that pit stop, that final stop of the race, or will he need to? Again, we don't know what the fuel window was as far as laps were concerned. 75% maximum capacity here tonight. Major's last pit stop coming at lap 56. Cars still on a lead lap as green flag stops underway. William Tyndall, that number 11 driver, in the number 62. Not a whole lot of track position out the rear view mirror. Back to TJ Majors and Brian McCann. It will not be too long before Tyndall's going to have to worry about the leaders. Does he fight them off to try to stay on the lead lap, or does he yield like most of the drivers have tonight? And Brian McCann now falling off the pace in comparison to TJ Majors. I don't know what it is about this guy, but he's somehow managed to save those tires, make them last, hold off Brian McCann. Still plenty of racing to go as just under 50 laps remain. Matt Mormon has made his way back out on the track. I think that thing's still dog tracking pretty bad, but it's way better than it was. I don't know how he's driving that thing at all out there. Might be able to see it on the straightaway. That thing is way out of shape. Yeah, it's still Still not tracking right. Left rear in yaw towards the driver's side. That is the polar opposite of what you want. Majors back in traffic. Rolling up on Josh Mears. Shane Haas in the 23. Oh, 3 wide out of 4. Haas gets the wall. Lucky for Majors, that happening behind him. Big time battle here behind the race leader, Garrett Johnston, in the 14th position, but in a hornet's nest of traffic there, running in behind Brian McCann. Now Brandon Mefford trying to go. The outside is the 27 of Benz. Johnston gets past, thankfully, without any major incident. A little bit of contact with Mefford, and McCann sends him up into the 36 of Mears. This a battle for the second spot? No. Mefford made a pit stop, so he's out there in fresher tires, and we get a really slow car down the backstretch. I think that might be Chartier. Indeed it is. The nose missing off the 13. Oh, Phil's in the wall. He's going to park at the bottom of the racetrack, or no. This might bring us under the caution flag if he can't get to pit lane. .13 now out of turn 2, all the way down the apron. He will make it to the pits. No caution. Really thought we were going to get one there. We did not. Back out front now, Majors with the lead. The biggest lead we've seen all day. Almost a full second over Brian McCann. And now Majors with his hands full with these lap cars going back by him on fresh tires. Last lap for TJ in 1984. William Tyndall in the 11th spot. Still hanging on to that last car on the lead lap title. Look at Casey Benz. He's running a 1963 in traffic, so 3.5 tenths faster than the leader because he's got newer tires. Just like that, lap traffic has taken away that race advantage, that race lead that Majors had over McCann as they're starting to reel him back in. And we got the Staying Life 13. I'm going to assume that's Phil Chartier. Says here, I suck at short tracks. Currently front wheels won't turn. Lots of repairs needed. Just want to finish. Well, do what you got to do. Just don't affect the outcome of the race. And if you're still listening, Phil, is it Chartier? Am I saying it right? Let me know. Christian Strader will come to the pits. Getting down to crunch time here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Will TJ have to make one more stop before this one's over? He's hanging on to that lead for now as he tries to work to the bottom side of Jason Nilges. Trying to slam the door closed on the 3 of McCann. McCann right there. Again, he was as far back as a full second. Quickly made it up as the 6 was mired in traffic and loose off turn 4 as Majors again hangs onto it, but that'll open the door for Brian McCann to get to the top of the racetrack. He just needs to rely on the 88 to get going, and he does not. Majors using Nilges as a bit of a pick as they head down into turns 3 and 4. Now McCann to the back bumper. Aaron Smith still shown in third, but he's 2.5 seconds back. So this is really going to be a battle between Majors and McCann if we run this all the way to the end under green. Incredible drive for TJ Majors to this point, but can he cap this one off? Will the fuel be enough to make it to the checkered flag? Will the tires hold on? So many questions that have to be going through the head of TJ Majors right now. And he's going to come to the pits. The race leader, TJ Majors, on pit lane here with just over 25 laps to go. This could end it for TJ Majors. You got to wonder now, does Brian McCann have enough to make it to the end? Remember, McCann made his last stop at lap 84, so significantly more fuel on board the 3 than what TJ had with his last stop coming at lap 56. TJ will come down and pit. Does he go right sides only here? We know Aaron Smith did it early on. It didn't really pay off long term. Short-term gain was there. 2-tire change. TJ Majors drops it down and away. Only 9.3 seconds in the box. He'll head back out. Still showing in the 9th position, but he is a lap down now, and he's not the first car lap down, so he needs to make up some ground here, and then maybe hope for a caution. Phil Chartier. Okay, Chartier. Gotta emphasize the T. Chartier. All right. I'll see if I can get that better. Thanks, Phil. 24 to go. Brian McCann, your new race leader. First laps, we've seen the 3 at the front of the field here tonight. Can he hold on all the way to the finish? 23 laps to go for Brian McCann. Aaron Smith still in the second spot, a whole straightaway in the rears. So TJ Majors making a late pit stop here. He went 117 laps on a tank of fuel. Now, there was some caution lap mixed in there. So factor in Brian McCann. His last pit stop was at lap 84. It's going to be tight. If McCann stays out there for the exact same amount of time, he's 1 lap to the good. However, you got to factor in those cautions, and I don't think we've had enough yellow for the 3 to make it to the end. It's going to be real close. McCann may have been saving some some fuel early on in this race, or early on in this run for that matter. 19 laps to go. Gonna find out soon enough. Philip Chartier back on the racetrack, just trying to be there at the finish. Gotta give him credit for trying. Following up on Lilith Peters, it's been a tough night after a solid qualifying effort. It all went away with contact with Brandon Mefford. She got the wall, damage to the race car, but also has yet to give up. Now in the top 15, running 13th. Still only one lap down. Only 5 cars still on the lead lap after this cycle of pit stops. Taking a look at things here, Neil Quick running in 5th. Of all the drivers that made a late pit stop or a more recent pit stop, obviously lap 84 for Brian McCann, Aaron Smith, Chuck Sweeting, and Brandon Mefford. Neil Quick was lap 85, so he's just 1 lap more fuel on board than everybody else ahead of him. Could this come down to 1 lap of fuel? Never thought I'd be talking about fuel mileage racing here at North Wilkesboro, but here we are. 13 to go. McCann out front trying to get every drop. Aaron Smith still P2. Chuck Sweeting in 3rd, about half a straightaway back. Brandon Mefford running in the 4th position. And TJ Major still running in 9th. 1 lap down. Keep an eye on the 2 of Neil Quick. This one could just fall right into his lap if the fuel is as close as we think it could be. McCann's going to have to run this until the tank's on fumes. There's the pit strategy right now. McCann went 109 laps early, and here he comes. And the caution comes out. Just before McCann gets to pit lane, that's going to give him a penalty. He was entering pit lane before the yellow came out. It came out just as he crossed the line. I don't know if they're going to clear this. If he doesn't make his pit stop, he should be okay. Nothing he could do at that point, but the caution came out. It's like Matt Moorman and maybe Chuck Sweeting involved. Looks like McCann's going to pit anyway and just take the penalty. Aaron Smith now will come down and pit. So this changes everything. Only our 3rd caution of the night. It was a very long green flag run. We were just starting to talk about pit strategy. As the yellow comes out for, looks like, Matt Moorman and Chuck Sweeting. Let's take a look. Moorman already heavily damaged from an earlier crash. That thing, again, we talked about how it's dog tracking. It's not handling well at all. Was this the reason for the yellow? It was not. Now we'll check Chuck Sweeting, who's having a strong run in the top 5. Saved. Oh, he overcorrected, a little bit of a tank slap, and there you have it. And I'll be honest, folks, there was no black flag for Brian McCann. So he may have got to that line in just the right amount of time. Try and get a look at this here again. This is as the caution came out. I wish I could have a graphic to show you, but we'll go real slow. Watch the green light to the right of your screen. It's green, 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 green. And right there, the lights turn red to close pit lane. Now, that's a painted line and there's cones there. Maybe it's different. Maybe there's some issue there with the digital aspects of it being an iRacing, but it does appear the pits were officially closed when McCann made his stop, but iRacing did not penalize. Again, we're on iRacing. iRacing's making all the calls here. We're not running necessarily a live admin for pit penalties and things of that nature. But maybe now it looks like McCann has been relegated to 4th.
Not going.
Yeah, they're trying to get this figured out here, it looks like, folks. Everybody's checked up pretty significantly. They've waved off the restart. And this may actually set us up for a green-white checkered finish here. McCann shown in 3rd. We're going to see where they're going to put him here. About to see some fireworks here, folks. Again, we'll look at it another time here. Different angle here. McCann coming to the pits. And there it is. So it looks like they are going to administer a penalty here for the 3.
We go green this time, Ross? Negative.
And they have waved it off again. So yes, this will send us to a green-white checkered finish. Front row is going to be Aaron Smith and Brandon Mefford. Smith as the leader. This will be our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. We have 3 at our disposal. Row 2 will be Neil Quick and William Tyndall. Now, Tyndall stayed on the racetrack. His last pit stop, lap 84, so these added laps are going to be problematic for him. Top 3 drivers, they pit under this most recent caution, all taking 4. That's Aaron Smith, Mefford, and Quick. Tyndall was lap 84. Majors was 173. Here we go.
Green flag.
Aaron Smith gets the jump. 2 laps to go. Unabated for now. Field in 3 and 4, looking for the white flag. Final lap from North Wilkesboro. Aaron Smith thought it was all done and over with. Stuck with it, started in the 3rd spot here tonight, and here he goes. There's trouble on the backstretch, but it's not going to matter. Aaron Smith out of turn number 4 for the final time. Checkered flag waves. Aaron Smith wins it at Wilkesboro. Second place, Brandon Mefford. Neil Quick will come home in 3rd. Brian McCann will settle for 8th, and TJ Majors, after a dominant performance, will finish just outside the top 3 in 4th. What a race. I guess that's going to do it for the burnout for Aaron Smith. So with that, we'll step aside. We'll get our break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at North Wilkesboro Speedway, the 3-wide with DJG 200 in the books. Aaron Smith picking up the win. Thrilling fashion, a very clean race here tonight. Only 3 cautions to speak of, but man, one of them specifically really played a factor in tonight's race. Well, let's get a word with our race winner, driver of the number 70, Aaron Smith. Aaron, it's Steve with Track Limits Network. You got a good copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Aaron, congratulations, man. I want to start out by saying in seasons past, we have watched you absolutely dominate this field. Wasn't really the case here tonight. You had a strong race car, a third-place start, led some laps in the mid-portion of the race, but a late caution really factoring into things here tonight. Why don't you walk us through your race here tonight? What were you thinking here in the final 25 laps?
Well, before the race, I completely forgot that we had an update and like a new surface here, so I had to download the update. Fortunately, I made it, hopped into the session, and turned a bunch of laps, and the grip on the track felt so weird. I couldn't figure out where the line was for the longest time. And then I figured it out, started doing that, kind of butchered qualifying, almost crashed on the front stretch, but ended up P3. I knew that I had the short run pace to make it happen, but the long run pace running against that bottom line that seemed flatter, it didn't seem right. So I just sat behind TJ and waited. Had a few runs on him, but he was blocking every one of them, and I didn't want to start anything that early in the race, so I just sat there, just watched him, see what I could be doing differently, maybe even better in some places, and that time never really came. So when that caution came out before the halfway point, I had a feeling that I'd be able to save enough fuel to make it to the end, and we had about 117 laps to go. You can get about 109 out of it with just driving normally. And yeah, I just spent the entire last run saving, and I had enough to finish under green if that played out on merit, but Unfortunately, everyone pit, and then we got that last caution, and I had to race for it. So I'm glad it continued to work out in my favor there, but that auto fuel almost caught me. Like, I completely forgot to add more fuel in that last pit stop. If we had another green-white checkered, I would have been cooked.
Well, you make it to the victory lane first. You get the checkered flag. You take the victory here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, so it worked out in the end. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Tonight, you were a bit of both. Looking forward now, Atlanta Motor Speedway next week. Now, I'm not 100% sure what layout we're on, if we're on the super speedway style or if we're on the old wore-out pavement, but both ways, I guess. How do you prepare for Atlanta, regardless of what layout we're on?
Well, hopefully we get that old bumpy one in there somewhere. But either way, like, I enjoy Atlanta. I haven't raced these cars in the super speedway configuration yet, so that'll certainly offer an interesting take. I'm not sure how I'll fare in that regard, but we'll have to see.
Well, either way, we're looking forward to it. Should be a fun one. I don't know. It's going to be hard to beat this one here tonight. A very entertaining race, up and down as far as strategy, racing. It had it all tonight. You guys did a good job. Congratulations on the victory, Aaron. Who do you want to thank?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the folks here at the IROC Challenge for putting on a great race tonight. I was not expecting that with a short track. I thought we'd be getting 20 more cautions tonight, and we ended up with a 115-lap run almost to the finish there. So props to everyone in the field for making that happen. Props to all the sponsors for putting this whole deal together, and all the folks for watching, you for broadcasting, and everyone in between. Looking forward to coming back out next week and hopefully getting it done all over again.
All right, Aaron. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in Atlanta.
10-4. Thank you.
Aaron Smith, your race winner here at North Wilkesboro. Now we're going to talk to Brandon Mefford. Our 7th place start here tonight. Brings it home in a runner-up finish. Solid run. Another short track driver out there. He got it done, took care of his race car. But let's get a word of the driver, the number 83. Brandon, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
What's going on, Steve?
Brandon, it's been a while, man. Good to talk to you. Congratulations on a runner-up finish here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It wasn't for a lack of excitement. A little bit of contact early on with Lilith Peters. Really hard to make a call on that one. How did it look out the windshield of your car in that instance?
Yeah, if I was being honest, I think I come up into Lilith a little bit, and I don't know if she come down or it also, but I'm going to take blame for it. It's too early to be pinched up that hard. I didn't really mean to, just I kind of chased the car up there. So my apologies to her, but man, that was a great fun race. Probably one of the best of the season so far.
I would have to agree. Definitely a great race to call and watch here in the booth. As I said to Aaron in his interview, lots to talk about here tonight, whether it was pit strategy, crazy cautions, and just bad luck for some drivers out there. But you held on to it. You took care of the race car the rest of the way. The thing looked pretty clean even at the finish. What was your race like? What were some of the challenges that you had throughout the evening?
Yeah, just trying not to overdrive the corner and trying to save them the right front and the right rear tire, because you really needed to turn down early off out of one to get a good run down the backstretch if you were going to go anywhere, or for me anyways. But on the long run, man, I thought I was really, really good. But that was my goal. I got in here with like 8 minutes left. Kudos to Brian for helping me out there. He knows what he helped me do there, but didn't have any laps. But we went 7th on the board for qualifying, and I was just going to settle in and ride, see what we got. Got lucky. Even though we were unlucky, I took some tires earlier on like lap 80 when I didn't want to. I just wanted to get some fuel, and then I was going to ride out that fuel strategy, and we got that caution late to go and had everybody trapped a lap down, so it ended up working out.
Worked out, it did. 2nd place finish here, a solid run here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Next week, Atlanta Motor Speedway, and as I don't know if we're on the old layout or the super speedway. You may know better than I, but either way, how do you prepare for that unique racetrack, whether it's the wore-out surface or the super speedway race that we tend to see at Atlanta?
Yeah, we got this crazy guy that runs this league. I think his name's Chris Wally, and I'm sure he's going to put us on that super speedway track that I don't prefer. So, hey, to be honest, we're so busy right now. We're going to show up and see what we got and go super speedway racing.
I think we go there twice this season, so maybe it's one this time and the other the next. But like you said, I know Wally's kind of crazy. Maybe we go the super speedway version twice. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, he's a little wonky. I give him crap all the time for all his track decisions and things like that, but he runs a great league, though. I got to give it to him.
With that said, again, a solid 2nd place finish here tonight. Brandon, who do you want to thank?
Yeah, just thank all the drivers that showed up tonight. Thanks for the broadcast. Again, back to Chris for throwing this deal out there. He's got something cool going on here. I'm enjoying it. It's a little competitive here and there, but that's what we're here for. So shout out to all the sponsors that put this gig on, and then all my teammates and family back home.
All right, Brandon. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Brandon Mefford, your runner-up here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to another IROC veteran. It's the 2 of Neil Quick. Brought it home into a third-place finish here this evening. Let's get a word to that driver, the number 2 machine. Neil, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got a copy?
Yeah, Steve, I got you.
Neil, congratulations. Third-place finish here tonight. 9th-place start. Mired back in the pack after some contact with Vincent Short. You guys went for a bit of a tussle down the front stretch here. Why don't you walk us through what happened there?
I don't know. I haven't watched the replay yet. I think I was getting a good drive up off the bottom, and I don't know if I got a little bit loose and got into him, or if he got loose on the high side and we both got together. It was just a racing deal. Didn't mean to make for any intentional contact. Just trying to get a good drive. It was hard to get on the inside of this track. It's really got a couple good lanes, actually. Sometimes 3 lanes, sometimes, but it's very racy, and it's hard to get a good bite on the inside and not get loose, or be on the top side trying to hold somebody off and not get loose. So apologize to Vince for that. If it was my fault, I didn't mean it. I know I was trying to make up for the first lap, third turn 3 spin at the beginning of the race where everybody went around me. So just trying to make up. Passed a lot of cars tonight, and a few things came my way to put me back up where I ended up there at the end.
Didn't appear to take too much damage in that incident with the 55. Clearly, you're able to drive it back through and hang on to it. We were watching you later on in the race. I know fuel mileage before that final caution might have been a bit of a question for a lot of the top 5. You had 1 lap better than everybody else. Was there any thought in your mind of maybe making it to the end if we ran green to the finish?
Oh, that was the whole point. I was looking at it and backing up laps and stuff, and I had enough to go all the way to the finish without the caution flag. Was kind of a little bit bummed there, but still kind of worked out well. But I'd like to see it go green there to the end. I would like to see where it ended up, but I had enough to go all the way through to the finish there.
Well, you guys put on a good show, and you brought it home top 3. That's a solid night here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Next week, Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm not sure if we're on the old layout or the new, but either way, what's the preparation look like for Neil Quick?
I'll jump in practice about 10 minutes to go and give it hell like I have for the last 5 or 6 races, and just where the chips fall is where they fall. But it's good to get in and have a car like this that I feel that it's pretty equal for all the drivers. So just getting in and getting some laps and figuring it out and trying to stay out of messes. It's the best thing. I just feel bad about the deal with Vince. Like I said, it wasn't something intentional. I don't know how to go back and look at the replay, but if it was my fault, I definitely do apologize.
Well, it is what it is. Like you said, racing deal. Things happen. Again, short track racing, things happen in a hurry, but still walk out of here with a 3rd-place finish. Job well done, Neil. Congratulations, man. Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank all the guys that helped put on the league, Chris and all the sponsors, you guys doing the broadcast, Steve, and of course all the racers that come out every week. That's why we're here to race with these guys and try to beat the guys that are really good. But man, got a great group of guys in here, and look forward to it every Monday.
All right, Neil. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in Atlanta.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, bud.
Neil Quick, your 3rd-place finisher here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. That's going to do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look here at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 already: Aaron Smith, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick. TJ Majors, after a dominant race, led the most laps, finishes in the 4th spot. Garrett Johnston was 5th. James Pileski was 6th. Christian Strader had a strong night as well, finishes out in the 7th spot. Brian McCann was 8th. Brent Butler 9th. Steve Durbin finished in the 10th spot. William Tyndall was 11th. Lilith Peters, job well done by the 1. Not the night that she wanted. Put it on the outside pole. Got tangled up there with Brandon Mefford there for a bit, and they went around. She sustained some damage. Mefford not so much, but she battled back. Still finishes in the 12th spot. So a great race for the 1. Just certainly not the result that she was looking for. Adam Pettit finished in the 13th spot. Jason Nilgis was 14th. Casey Benz 15th. Josh Mears was 16th. 17th place went to Zachary Cleek. Shane Haas finishes in the 18th spot. Kyle White 19th. Chuck Sweeting was 20th. Matt Mormond drove this thing to the end, man. Finished in the 21st spot with a lot of damage, body and suspension. Phil Chartier finished in the 22nd spot. Todd Kleek was 23rd, Kyle Hardy 24th. Vincent Short out of this one early with contact with Neil Quick, finishes 25th. Peter Ruzick 26th. Timmy Schofield was 27th. And last but not least, Chris Wally credited with 28th. Doesn't look like he started tonight's race. Tim Schofield 202 laps down. I think he made one lap, unfortunately, for the 12. That's where he'll settle out here this evening. Got to thank you guys all for tuning in. Great race here tonight by the IROC Challenge Series. More to come. Lots of racing this season. We go into mid-January before this one's all said and done. So keep it tuned here to Track Limits Network each and every week. Give us a thumbs up, the like button here at Track Limits Network. Also do the same at IROC TV. We multicast to both channels, so if you want to watch there, go ahead. You want to watch here? That's cool too. Or switch, maybe go halfway and then switch channels. Give us a like button on both sides. It helps us out immensely. Kind of pushes these streams out to some wider audiences, some fresh eyeballs, that sort of thing. Maybe the next driver, next IROC champion, you never know, could be interested. They may jump in here and try things out based on what they see here in this broadcast. Thank you again for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate the patronage. We'll see you at the next one, guys. Congratulations to Aaron Smith picking up the win here tonight. We'll see you in Atlanta. Thanks for watching.